I recently received an invoice in which I noticed I was being charged sales tax. The invoice was for a service being done in my home, and I know that most states don't charge sales tax on services. So I just replied to the invoice with this email. Hey Jane, sorry for the delay. I was about to pay the deposit, but had a question on the sales tax. I thought most services were not subject to sales tax in Utah. Can you confirm? Sorry, I had to check. I'm a CPA. Hey, my name is Mark too, and I'm a CPA and former reseller who specializes in helping resellers and online businesses with taxes and with growing their profitability. So I sent her the email and she responded promptly by saying, thanks for bringing this to my attention. Upon consulting with my accountant, you're right. Let me get that fixed and send a new one over to you. Now, I'm almost positive that it was an honest mistake. She's a new business owner and she was probably using an invoice program that automatically charges the sales tax. But me knowing a thing or two about taxes helped me save an easy $50. So it's helpful to have a baseline understanding about taxes in general so you can avoid leaving money on the table. And sales tax is no exception. And I want to quickly cover 3 simple things to know about sales tax that can help you save money and avoid big mistakes. Number 1, sales tax varies by state and service or product type. Number 2, I want to talk about reseller certificates, what they are and how they exempt you from paying sales tax. And in number 3, we'll talk about marketplace facilitators and how the platforms are now collecting sales tax for you. I'll start with the one that my story was about. Most services are typically not subject to sales tax. However, this depends on your state. And you need to know that the sales tax landscape is continually changing. States come out with updates all the time. Some states do tax services broadly, including at the time of this video, Hawaii, New Mexico, South Dakota, but some states only tax specific services. So it'll depend on whether it's a repair service or a medical service or something else. And then a lot of states barely tax services at all. And some states don't even have sales tax. So originally, sales tax was primarily imposed on the sale of physical goods, but it has been gradually expanding to include services and digital goods as well. The majority of states in the US now have some sort of tax on digital goods. So that can be an ebook or an online course. And as a consumer, just knowing what basic goods and services are subject to sales tax in your state can help you avoid paying sales tax unnecessarily. And as a business owner, it'll help you know if you're handling sales tax correctly in your business. Moving on to number 2, reseller certificates. If you work with any wholesalers, vendors, or manufacturers, they'll likely accept what's called a reseller certificate. This is just a form that you give them that they keep on file, and it gives them permission to waive sales tax on your purchases of inventory. And that's because the sales tax will ultimately be collected when you sell the item to the consumer, so there's no need for you to have to pay it too. Now let me stop there and answer the question many of you are thinking. Well, what if I have been paying sales tax on my inventory purchases? You have a few options. If you're paying sales tax on the purchase for your inventory, you can simply add it to the overall deductible cost of the item. So you'll eventually deduct the sales tax as part of your inventory, as part of the overall cost of goods sold on your taxes. That doesn't save you as much money as not having to pay it at all, but it's better than nothing. If you figure you've spent an insane amount on the sales tax portion of inventory that you've purchased over the years, some states do have a mechanism for recovering that. And it's something you can look into more with your Department of Revenue. Although if in those years you deducted the sales tax on your income taxes, then technically you'll have to back that out if you do end up getting any kind of refund for the sales tax you paid. So that does get a little tricky. So going forward, you can see if your vendor accepts a reseller certificate. With wholesalers and manufacturers, these are really routine. If you try to use one at Walmart or Goodwill, they may or may not look at you funny because they aren't technically set up as wholesalers who sell to resellers. So they may or may not have or be aware of any formal processes for reseller certificates. To get a reseller certificate, you first need to have a sales tax permit, which is the same as registering for sales tax. You have to be authorized to collect sales tax for your vendor to be able to accept your reseller certificate and waive the sales tax you would otherwise have to pay. Now that's kind of a weird thing that takes us to number 3, the role of marketplace facilitators. A marketplace facilitator is a business or platform that connects buyers and sellers and processes sales on behalf of the sellers. Examples include Amazon, eBay, Etsy. These platforms handle various aspects of transactions like listing items, collecting payments, helping with shipping resources. Even though you're authorized to collect sales tax, if you are selling on a big platform like one of those I mentioned, eBay, Amazon, Poshmark, Mercari, these platforms are collecting and remitting sales tax for you. So there's nothing you need to do. Except if you did register for a sales tax permit, you're now on the state radar and they expect you to file sales tax returns. This is totally separate from income tax returns. Filing a sales tax return is not intuitive the first time you do it, but once you know what to do, it's not difficult either. Usually you'll just enter the sales to customers within your state on that line 1, and then you'll also enter that same amount as a deduction. So the taxable income ends up being 0 because again, the platform is already taking care of the sales tax piece. You're simply checking a box, jumping through a hoop to satisfy the requirement of having a sales tax permit that allows you to have a reseller certificate. Now, if you sell on a platform or use a software that's not considered a marketplace facilitator, you will have to collect the sales tax yourself. Shopify is an example of this. And again, that'll typically only be on sales to customers who reside in states where you have a physical or significant economic presence. I'll include links below where you can read more about that, but as a small business owner, it's typically just going to be your home state. So just a few points to remember to make you dangerous when it comes to sales tax. Remember, for the first time in a year, the doors to my Reseller Tax Academy are opening back up in January. Use the link below to join the waitlist and be notified of the sale details. Follow me at @NotYourDadCPA on Instagram and use the links below for more resources to help you optimize your tax situation and overcome the anxiety so you can focus on building your business profitably.